So the Brood from 1979 film I watched today, finally. One that I had been wanting to watch on my list for a minute because I actually sat down to watch it with a friend of mine, in probably October, and right now we're in January. And long story short, we turned it off because we didn't like it. It was like 1 in the morning when we turned it on, and we were like 15 minutes in. Shit was weird, so we turned it the fuck off. And I watched it by myself just now, and I have a few thoughts about it, I suppose. Let me just say off the front, it was a weird movie, different movie, strange horror film, directed by David Cronenberg, who is kind of widely renowned for being a very prolific and creative film director for sure. He's made a lot of really popular movies, cult classics like The Fly. I believe, did he do The Reanimator? He also did Scanners, and this movie falls in with like that art horror grindhouse shit. It's it's bizarre. It is nothing like really any of the movies that I've watched thus far, I would say. And essentially what it's about, right? It's about this man named Frank who has a wife who is being psychologically rehabilitated by this doctor who has this unconventional method of rehabilitation therapy. I think it's like plastomatics or some shit like that, or I forget what the term was. I watched it this morning, and it's nighttime now, but it's a really strange, bizarre way of therapizing, working with those who are dealing with like mental illness. And they don't really talk about why she's in the facility. And perhaps with a second viewing, I'd pick up on that maybe. And I'll get to whether or not I want to give it a second viewing later. But basically, yeah, she's in this psychiatric facility. Sorry, stupid. And basically, our main character, Frank, has a daughter whom visits his mother in her rehabilitation center facility. And he notices that she has like some scratches and some marks, and he believes that it is from his wife, who is, once again going under this really unconventional and bizarre rehabilitation method practice. And the husband is upset. He, A, doesn't want his daughter around, and B, for the most part, he doesn't want his fucking wife there at all. But the doctor, Mr. Raglan, shout out to Reggie, believes that A, she needs the therapy, and B, the presence of her daughter is really important to, her improvement and her stability mentally, I suppose. And so, yeah, the film centers around these like alien babies, I guess, or alien children who are the killers of the movie. They commit, I think there's 4 death scenes in the movie. And they're really strange. They're really bizarre. Whenever I first saw them in action, I thought it was the daughter who was the one committing the murders. And I was like, oh shit, is this Alice, Sweet Alice all over again? But you get a few looks at their faces and their bodies. I mean, they are literally like 5-year-old children's, which is, I mean, they're like the same size as the daughter, who's named Candy, I think, which is kind of weird. I guess she's gonna, be a stripper. Fun, whatever. Shout out to Frank and Nola. The names are weird. The names in this movie are weird. But yeah, no. The looks of the killers, if you will, in this movie are really kind of weird. It's like if you took a 5-year-old and like put like paper mache all over their face, right? Like it looks really weird. But they the kill scenes are they're kind of slapsticky. Some of them are kind of cool. The gore is not bad. But the actual process, the death scenes, the ones that you actually get to see are pretty fucking weak. And this movie is from the late 70s, so, and it's a relatively low budget movie, so I can't hammer it too much. But I liked the gore effects, but like the violence, and people allege this movie to be very scary and like, one of the most frightening films of the time when it came out. And maybe so. Maybe I'm just been so desensitized from spooky movies and horror films that this movie just really didn't faze me. It did have me interested. I was kind of confused, or not confused, but like very intrigued by what the fuck I was watching on the screen, because these little like alien children are like the spawns of the mother who is in the psychiatric hold. And it's like whenever she is tense or whenever she is angry, it seems like, and perhaps once again maybe need to rewatch it to further understand, but it seems that the little creatures are manifestations of her anger, because at certain times in the movie, mainly at the end, really, the doctor like warns Frank whenever he's gonna see his wife to like make sure he's super calm and like don't make her mad and like give in to her, let her have her daughter, because she really wants her daughter and he really does not want her to have her daughter. And like she gets mad. It's actually really cool. The ending scene, the ending of the movie, I think is the best, is when the movie peaks, because you have like all of the little like devil bait, I don't know what the fuck to call them. I'm just gonna call them alien preschoolers. You have like a group full of alien preschoolers with the doctor, and like everything's fine, and then it cuts back to like the room where the mother and father of the daughter, I guess, or our main character and his wife are like talking, and then she starts getting angry, and like as soon as she gets angry, all of like the alien preschoolers start attacking the doctor and kill him, right? So kind of cool, kind of interesting, kind of weird. It's different. It's very different. I'll give that. This movie is nothing like anything I've seen at all of the movies that I've watched. And to be fair, I feel like I've watched a decent variety of movies so far, because I've watched monster movies, I've watched slashers, I've watched supernatural shit. So, and I feel like this is a supernatural possession movie. I don't even know. I don't even know. But the characters in this movie, I do like the main character, Frank. I think he is solid. He's likable, but at the same time, he unfortunately doesn't have too much qualities. He's not flat, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily stick out. However, Dr. Raglan is an interesting character, because I found myself always closely analyzing him whenever he was on the screen, whenever he was in a scene. I was always trying to get a read on him, because up until even the very end, I wasn't sure how to feel about this guy because, you know, throughout the movie, at the beginning, he seems to be like this cunning doctor. And then, you know, as it develops, you learn more about his practice, and like his patients are saying that he's manipulative and he is, you know, causing problems. Like, I believe like his method of rehabilitation gave somebody cancer, and like it's just he's like a lunatic, and he needs to be, you know, prosecuted for what he's done, and they're trying to get a case against him in court. Like, they're really trying to damn him, and then at the end of the movie you really think that they're enemies because there's like a gun involved, and like it gets crazy. But at the end I still feel kind of lukewarm on him, and where I'm like, is he a villain or was he a good guy? I don't know. And so I respect the movie for leaving that character, he's probably the biggest character in the movie, although he's not the main character, nor is he necessarily the complete antagonist. He is very ambiguous, and I really have to respect David Cronenberg, who is a excellent filmmaker. I really have to respect the writing and how, you know, also the performance of that character. I forget who portrayed him, but he did a fantastic job. He looks like Priceline Negotiator. He looks like William Shatner. I thought that whenever I saw him. But anyway, no, I thought this movie, it was interesting. It definitely starts off really slow, and it drags a lot. And it definitely had me disinterested, I guess. It really, the action, yeah, it's paced. There's like 4 kill scenes in the movie, and I guess you could say they're somewhat well paced throughout the movie. But there was a lot of just weird shit that just, yeah, it's good to build up the plot, but like it didn't necessarily keep me entertained. There was a point here where I was trying to just get through this movie. However, I think the ending does redeem some of the downsides of the movie up until that point. I do really like the ending. I think the ending is fantastic, where the wife has like this fucking alien stomach, and like she is, you know, an alien who is giving birth to these alien preschoolers, and it ends up rubbing off on her daughter because her daughter has like the bumps, which are like, you know, it seemed to be like this short-term onset or the precursor to what the bitch had on her fucking stomach, which is just like, what the hell? And I thought the effects, that part was really badass. Like that part, the ending, I mean, the movie really builds up to the end, and they really put all their eggs in the basket of the ending. And it's like, it's I don't want to say it's a shame, but for me, it's like the first 80% of the movie is really nothing special. It's really not very good. But the last 20%, the climax, the last 15 to 20 minutes of it, I think are pretty goddamn good. Now, in retrospect, would I recommend this to horror fans? That's a good question. I don't know if I would. I don't. Horror fans or fans, I guess. Yes, I think I would. I think I would recommend it to horror fans. Would I recommend it to film fans? I don't think so. No, I wouldn't recommend it to friends. I think it's borderline that I would recommend it to fellow horror fans. I don't think it's necessarily a cult classic, but it is definitely a cult film looked back upon. And I mean, it was on this list of 100 must-see horror films. You know, like I said, a lot of it not very good, but the ending is very good. I much like the ending. I would say I'm gonna give it would I watch it again? Ooh, part of me wants to watch it again because there was some shit that kind of didn't really make sense. But at the same time, do I really want to sit through that hour-long kind of snooze fest? I don't know. I'm going to give it a 2.5. Yeah. Because I think 2 stars is too low because, like I said, the movie at the finale is quite good, right? And this movie does do several things well, right? I think the acting is pretty damn good. Some of the characters are really awesome. And, you know, just everything really kind of culminates at the end, whether it's the effects, you know, how the story kind of changes up, the big reveal there. You see, you know, some of the characters that you've kind of hyped up throughout the whole movie, and you see them finally kind of put into like a position of climax, I guess. Not like that, but you know what I mean. Like the story wraps up and finishes well. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's I've said it 20 bajillion times now. It's 80% of it is not good, but the last 20%, I would say it makes it worth it. You can sit through the first hour and 10 minutes and thoroughly enjoy the last 20 minutes.